Good
morning and welcome to Northern Lights Spiritual Center. My name is Reverend Vaughan Amaré, and I am here with Reverend Michael Amaré. Northern Lights Spiritual Center is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Lights Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and coastal Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. Please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Ron and Carol Harris. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. Good morning. Here we are at the time on Sundays when we set aside time to just center ourselves, to come into a space and to release everything that's come before this moment, and allow ourselves to just be still and know. So I just invite us to find that sweet spot. Get as comfortable as you can, allowing your limbs to relax, eyes to close if you choose. And together we'll take in 3 nice, deep, cleansing breaths. One in and release. And take another nice deep breath in. Hold it and release. And one more. In. And release. And in this time of pausing from life as a hurry and rush, I want to invite us to reflect back when we were kids, when you were a little child.
I've always been asking questions. Like, why does the sun shine? Why is the sky blue? Why am I here? And as you reflect on the questions that might have been asked by you, the responses that you would get, I remember responses getting like, because I said so, or, go look it up, or something like that. So these questions you ask, did you get satisfied answers? Or did you just ask yourself the question? Knowing that you could make up a story, just think about the questions you might have asked where the answer was in the question itself. Just take a few minutes to contemplate this reflection. Why? The question of why, I believe, is probably the biggest asked question. The wondering of life itself. invite us to allow ourselves to be ready to come back to the room. And when you're comfortable, open your eyes. And so it is. The reading for today is in two parts. And the first part is from an article from someone named Rami Aran. And it's only part of an article. But I appreciated this part of it. And it's from the article, Why Do We Ask Questions? Asking questions is something we do to improve our lives, to explore the unknown, and to reach out from our basic genetic instincts to more advanced and fulfilling pursuit of life. Those who do not ask questions are content with the answers that exist, without considering whether those answers are correct or not. Those are the people who accept the works of Platony and Aristotle for hundreds of years, despite their works both being largely incorrect. Those are the people who listen to the church without thinking about what else could explain reality. Of course, many times the Catholic Church was very oppressive and restrictive. Any form of thought which they considered heretic, as was seen in the avid censorship of many books that strove to better understand reality. In addition, those who live in difficult conditions tend to be more willing to accept any answer as long as it is an answer to a question, to an unknown. This breeds ignorance and hampers scientific exploration. It is in our human nature to seek answers as answer provides security, such as we are willing to accept lies as long as they provide the illusion of truth. Asking questions means that one is willing to not find the answer immediately. It takes time to find answers. But when we finally understand something, it is a truly profound moment. It is a testament to human endeavor. Now the other part is from out of a book, What's in the Way is the Way by Mary O'Malley. And this is called The Power of Questions. Living in questions is one of the most powerfully transformative tools available to us. It can bring clarity when we are confused, courage when our strength has failed us, hope when we are filled with despair, and vision when we don't have a clue about which way to go. Living in questions is different from asking questions because the focus is on the questions instead of getting answers. The following are two different kinds of questions. The first are check-in questions. These are such as, in this moment, am I experiencing? What am I experiencing? For this moment, can I let this be here? In this moment, can I touch this with comparison? Right now, what do I truly need? And then there's open-ended questions, such as, what is asking to be seen? How can I give this space to be? Can I bring compassion to this? And You got up and changed my mind.
Michael was getting ready to give the song before the talk, but we have our monthly chant. And our monthly chant has the words, I lift my eyes to the glory alive every day. I lift my heart to the glory that thrives every day. I lift my mind to stories that strive every day. I lift my life to memories that guide me today. I set my intentions, let it whisper and mention, the highest and best I will be, the highest and best I will be. No. Yes. I lift my eyes to the glory alive every day. I lift my heart to the glory that thrives every day. I lift my mind to stories to strive every day. I lift my life to memories that guide me today. I set my intention, let it whisper and mention the highest and best I will be. The highest and best I will be. Now you lift your eyes to the glory alive every day. You lift your heart to the glory that thrives every day. You lift your mind to stories to strive every day. You lift your life to memories that guide you today. You set your intention, let it whisper and mention the highest and best you will be. The highest and best you will be. Now we lift our eyes. We lift our eyes to the glory alive every day. We lift our hearts to the glory that thrives every day. We lift our minds to stories to strive every day. We lift our lives to memories that guide us today. We set our intention, let it whisper and mention the highest and best we will be. The highest and best we will be. Now we come back to I and really own it this time. I lift my eyes to the glory alive every day. I lift my heart to the glory that thrives every day. I lift my mind to stories to strive every day.
is the moment I've been dreaming of my whole life. We got a long ride ahead, need to leave in no time. Hoping the better, 'cause I'm a fraction of myself here. Oh, running forever I'll be if there is nothing there. But I feel good about it now, I do. You brought me there, and we're so far, so good. Feel adventurous, embrace the pain. When I'm with you, that's how I do. We are gonna run the night away. Now we are one, and like you, I wanna see the world. I wanna take it up. I wanna feel the love. Yeah, I am curious. I am curious. This is a long road we crave for a ray of sunshine. Now we are halfway there, we're keeping focus on that. Maybe together we're gonna scare the fear itself. Or maybe the thunder won't even let us reach tomorrow. But I feel good about it now, I do. You brought me there, and we're so far, so good. Feel adventurous, embrace the pain. When I'm with you, that's how I do. We are gonna run the night away. Now we are one, and like you, I wanna see the world. I wanna take it up. I wanna feel the love. Yeah, I am curious. I am curious. We get along right. We get along right ahead. Get along right. Get along right ahead. We get along right. Get along right ahead. Right ahead. Feel adventurous, embrace the pain. When I'm with you, that's how I do. We are gonna run the night away. Now we are one, and like you, I wanna see the world. I wanna take it up. I wanna feel the love. Yeah, I am curious. I am curious.
So that performer was named Romy Wave, and the song is entitled I'm Curious. I wanted us to have that as the setting for today's talk. The title today is Living Our Questions Every Day. And the way that we can get into our questions every day is by holding an attitude of curiosity, by seeking an orientation of seeing life as an adventure. By deliberately engaging with life. The person who founded this spiritual tradition from which we practice person named Ernest Holmes proposed this statement. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling presence. That anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling presence. So the context for that song, the notion of you brought me there. What if our every breath is a breathing in and acknowledging of life itself, unfolding itself and giving itself to us as us? Romy sang of embracing the pain. Yes, to live in this world is to encounter pain. It's not that life is about pain, but that pain comes up. And sometimes we can take an orientation towards life that there should be no pain. And that if pain is showing up, somehow we've been cheated. Somehow life isn't right. This is so pervasive, this notion that we shouldn't encounter any pain, that the state of Florida is legislating that there can't be any teachings where white people have feelings of discomfort about historical facts and just history. You can't teach it so that anybody feels any discomfort. And I'm calling it out, that notion of saying that we can't teach that you're going to, that in a way that there's going to be any pain. When little children learn to walk, babies don't just get up and start walking like little speed demons. There isn't a delivery from birth to simply just walking and becoming Olympic stars. There are so many falls. There are so many times that the process of learning how to encompass things, how to become adept at things, it takes difficulty. It doesn't just automatically happen. Now, we may find in our lives that there are things that come more easily to us, and there are things that come with more difficulty. Can you imagine that you never grew beyond something that posed a difficulty? How far do you think you would have gotten if you couldn't do something that stretched us, that pulled us, that made us a little bit bigger? Stephanie Scranton, our practitioner at Northern Lights, is coming up with a line of baby clothes. And I can bet you that she has more than one size of baby clothes. If there was only one size designed, you know, people pop out and they're just about one size, there wouldn't be life, there wouldn't be growth, there wouldn't be expansion. Now, some of us complain about expansion. I'm not exactly as happy with my weight now as I was a year ago. But the other side of it is, Stephanie is a great example. Whenever we see her, she always looks amazing. That means that she's had to put on new things. It means that she's had to find new things. It means that she's had to put together new things. And she is, as a designer, she's appealing to parents who want to have their babies just express the magnificence and the glory that they are. I grew up in the Roman Catholic Church, and the priests tended to dress the same way every day. I went to Roman Catholic grade school, and I was supposed to wear a uniform. It was a white or blue button-down shirt. It had a little navy tie with an insignia of the church that I went to, and I had navy pants. And that was my daily outfit, Monday through Friday. Reba, who is sitting here today with us, always wears a different and beautiful, different muumuu. And to do that, she has to look. Muumuus don't just come to her. It's not like she sends a little whistle and they come running to her. We live in a world where change is the very nature. It's the very way that life happens. And the notion that we should just live in a world without any discomfort, where we should live in a world where things are just flat, contradicts what we all feel when we wake up. That life is living in us, as us. What happens when we take the time to ask, what is it that I am called by life to be today? When we ask those deep questions, that's a way that we come into closer contact with the indwelling presence. When we're willing to face the discomfort, when we're willing to embrace the pain, we're able to move through it. Embracing the pain doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to really hang out here. It's not a call to be a sadist. It's not a call to be a masochist. It's not a call to revel in suffering, but it's a call that suffering happens and that it is one of the elements that's going on in life. It's not the only element. I remember some years ago that in fact, we may like the idea that love is something that we can all have in common, but in point of fact, there are lots of people who don't get the experience of love. There are lots of people who are not treated with as a reflection of their magnificence. And this teacher in my early 20s said that the one thing that we do all have in common is pain. And how we respond to that may be a way that we connect more deeply with others. That if we only think the only way that we are ever going to be connected, the only commonality is love, then we're going to miss other people. But that pain is truly a universal human experience. So I want us to consider three things with today's talk about living in our questions. First thing is questioning everything. Second thing is the process of spiritual questioning, spiritual discernment. And then the third thing is living in the questions. So for the first notion of question everything, adults ask an average of 20 questions a day. And most of these are closed questions. What am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to watch? Do you want to see a movie? Albert Einstein stated, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." Think about it. Albert Einstein, we often refer to him as this brilliant person. His self-reflection was not about any particular brilliance. It was about his passionate curiosity. No special talent, passionately curious. With his passionate curiosity, he pursued things that other people thought was nonsense. But his pursuit of nonsense took him places where humanity had never gone. To make a connection between time and space was something that had never been done within science. Now, it had been done within religion. The teacher Jesus had said, "The Father and I are one." Wait, how does that work? How can you be one? There's two. How can it be one? Mystical experiences reinforce that, though. There's a sense of oneness, that the being that I am is part of something larger. How many people have ever come to a scene or come to a moment and time just stops? And it may be a scene of magnificent beauty. It may be a scene of just such delicious tastes and aromas. It may be a scene of just sensory delight. But there is this moment of oneness that didn't exist before. And in spiritual practice, we can keep trying to come back to that place. Or in relationships, we can keep trying to get back to that moment, to that special moment. And the difficulty is the more that we just want to get back there, it's like the perfect recipe for not getting there. If I just sit here this way, that's how it was before, and I think I can recreate it. The curiosity is getting beyond that moment from the past. Letting it be a guide rather than letting it be a yes or no. Have I done everything on my checklist so that I can have that experience? That this time with this lover was as perfect as that previous time. We had all the same things, and yet, I wasn't moved the same way. Now, the contrast for adults who are asking up to 20 questions a day, and what am I going to eat? How much weight will this Baby Ruth bar put on my... Children ask 70 to 100 questions a day. And Michael alluded to it in his reading. Their frequent question is why? Years ago I wrote a song. Why is the sky blue? Why do the birds fly? How long is an hour? Are fairy tales true? When does the spring come? Why does the rain fall? How can I know if I don't ask you? Again, the teacher Jesus said to folks, you have to become like little children to get into heaven. Now, Ernest Holmes proposed the idea that heaven is not an end state that you are getting to, that heaven is a state of now, a state of presence, and being like a child is what enables us to enter into heaven. That heaven isn't a destination, but that heaven is the pathway. That we are moment by moment by moment able to touch heaven and to live in heaven. And the proposal that this teacher Jesus made is that how might it happen is by imagining the world as this wonderful place, as this place filled with wonder. This month is about living everyday wonder. So to ask about the world with a sense of wonder, with a sense of curiosity, with a sense of adventure, rather than with a sense of just ending the sentence with a period. And it was this way. And it was this way. And it was this way. Hopefully you can sense that sense of boredom when I speak that way. When we live with a sense of boredom, we have thrown wonder out the window. When we're just trying to get through the day, we are throwing questions out the window. Ernest Holmes also wrote that the entire inquiry of science of mind is an inquiry into the relationship between the divine and the individual. And so far as we establish right relationship, we shall have a corresponding power. So that brings us to the second point, spiritual discernment. Ernest Holmes proposed through spiritual discernment, we see that we have within us a power which is greater than anything we shall ever contact. A power that can overcome every obstacle of our experience. We may find ourselves asking questions and then seeking an immediate external answer. We want to know this now. Ernest Holmes proposed that there's an infinite intelligence that is continually available to us. And it means shifting our frame. It means that perhaps our sense of inquiry, perhaps our sense of curiosity, is that we are willing to engage with the mystery of the world. Michael Beckwith came up with a process called visioning. And visioning is a very practical, concrete way to engage in spiritual discernment. We set ourselves in this place where we ask expansive, open-ended questions to catch an idea that is bigger than beyond where we are right here, right now. The notion of what can we release? What is mine going on right here, right now, that I can release? What might I embrace? What is it that His Spirit is calling me to embody? And what is it that I might become? Release, embrace, embody, become. And we aren't just digging into our own head. We aren't just looking for what it is that we think about. This process of visioning is about letting ourselves be silent, letting ourselves set in a place of love from the universe itself. And in that setting of love, in that setting of absolute positive regard, that the divine creates us moment by moment by moment with a sense that there is a majesty that we have the capacity to give rise to, that we have the capacity to give birth to. Karen Drucker sings a song, "What is mine to do? What is mine to give?" For the spiritual discernment, we'll try to send out the link to Karen Drucker's song as a little key, as a little cue for that spiritual discernment practice. So the third thing that I want to talk about is living in the question. So often we are prone, we've been taught that if we have a question, we need the answer. And that the question is wrong if it doesn't have an answer. That if we don't have a direct answer, there's some kind of problem. Michael referred to that book by Mary O'Malley, "What's in the Way is the Way." And she wrote, "Asking a question signals to life that you are ready to live the answer. And then life lives through you at the appropriate time." I'll say that again. Asking a question signals to life that you are ready to live the answer. And then life lives through you at the appropriate time. Living the questions, asking the questions, means taking on a frame of willingness to live in mystery. Of willingness to have the question remain in a process of answering. Another writer, Jacqueline Winspear, wrote, "Truth walks towards us on the paths of our questions." Truth walks towards us on the paths of our questions. As soon as you think you have the answer, you have closed the path and may miss new information. Wait a while in the stillness and do not rush to conclusions, no matter how uncomfortable the unknowing. Wait a while in the stillness and do not rush to conclusions, no matter how uncomfortable the unknowing. Brings me back to that line from the song. embrace the pain. It's very human to want to get through it. As babies, we cried. We wanted immediate satiation. We wanted to not feel cold or not feel hungry or not feel alone. Our crying was a call to have something fixed. But like my argument against the Florida legislations, our discomfort is not necessarily an indication that all hell is about to break loose. Now, I'm certainly not saying to ignore discomfort. I'm certainly not saying that discomfort is something to be sought after and disregarded. When I had chest pain and shortness of breath on Monday the 10th of January, I could have done that, but I live with Michael, and Michael had heart attacks. So I knew to be safe rather than sorry. And the staff at the hospital was very encouraging. They said, "We're really glad you did that. Because by responding to the pain that you had, you didn't make things worse. You didn't get to the point where you damaged your heart." What I'm proposing with this notion of living in the questions and living in the pain is that there's no one automatic way to respond. When we expect a cessation to our question, when we expect an immediate answer, we shut down other possibilities. And with the notion this month of living in the everyday wonder, my expansion with this week's talk is live in the everyday questions. Live in the questions and allow life to live the answers through us. Give it time. Give life the space. Be ready to make our lives this gift of learning, this gift of expansion, this gift of becoming more. So to summarize, the three things are: question everything. Bring back that childlike questioning of why and what for and how so and when and what's this about. Engage with spiritual discernment. That visioning process. What might I release? What might I embrace? What might I embody? What might I become? And live in the questions. Don't shortchange the living in the questions to just get a quick, sloppy answer that's going to end up shutting our hearts down. That won't let the creativity of life find its way through each of us. So I have an affirmation for us. I'm going to say it once, and then I'm going to invite us to say it together 3 times. This is not an unfamiliar practice. You've been here, you've done this, you know this. I ask new questions. and allow the answers to come. I ask new questions and allow the answers to come. I ask new questions and allow the answers to come. I ask new questions and allow the answers to come. And so it is. Thank you. And now Michael will share announcements.
I have no announcement.
Michael will share that he has no announcements.
Well, there is one announcement that, let's see, March 20th, each year, the third, whatever that day is, Sunday of the month, we have our annual meeting. And the past 2 years, we've done the annual meeting mostly via Zoom, and so that's the way we will do it this year. After the regular service, we will have our annual meeting. And other than that, I just want to thank Reverend Vaughan for the talk today. There were a couple of things that came out. I love the live in the question. And I think the idea to ask the question and be patient, which some of us aren't always the most patient in the world. I reflect that back from the mirror in the back of the room. I am not always the most patient person in the world. So it's allowing ourselves to ask that question, because I believe a lot of times there's more than one answer to the question. It's all depending on how you look at it, and you know, it may be different from day to day, because we are different from day to day. Things change from day to day. So living in the question and giving it time, that to me was very I want to say eye-opening. And so I just want to give thanks for everyone present, everyone on Zoom, on Facebook, for everyone, for life in general. For life is a very precious and valuable thing. Each day, each moment, each breath we take, each step we make is precious, is valuable. Each person in this universe, each life is valuable. So in that, I know that as we step out into our new day, into a new week, that we open to the question, and we open into allowing it to sit there, to simmer, to steep, and allow ourselves to listen to the answer. For in the question is the answer. We are questioning, and we have the answer. And so I give thanks for this day. And I release, and I let it go, and I let it be. And so it is. And one other thing I just remembered. Next Sunday, number 5, 5th Sunday of the month, which happens like 4 times a year. Our practitioner, Stephanie Scranton, will be speaking, so tune in and get a treat.